The station orbiting Janex 3 was supposed to be a neutral ground. No war, no conflict, no aggression. A diplomatic crossroads for over 30 species. But the day the patrol drones brought in the old human, everything changed. He looked harmless. Wrinkled, thin, maybe 100 years old in Earth years. Hair white, eyes a faded blue, shoulders hunched as though carrying invisible weight. He didn't speak as they dragged him into the tribunal chamber. The only thing he had on him was a long brown coat, scorched at the cuffs, and a satchel full of scrap parts and paper books, antiques no one had seen used in decades. His crime: trespassing in the restricted quadrant of the archival core, an act punishable by exile or worse. High Justice Sovkwal of the Erythic Council glared down at him from the dais. "State your name and species." The old man slowly lifted his head. "Dr. Elias Rohn, human, retired." "Retired from what?" Sovkwal sneered. "Everything," Rohn replied with a tired smile. The room scoffed. The humans hadn't had a presence in this quadrant for nearly 60 years. Most believed they had withdrawn after the Trillion conflict, a war that shattered alliances and turned half the galaxy against itself. And now this one, an old man, showed up in the most secure databank in galactic territory. A young interrogator, Sierra Val, stepped forward. Part Lorian, part human. Her dark green eyes shimmered with suspicion. "You accessed forbidden archives. Sector 7 Zeta, only level Omega clearance can bypass those encryptions." "I had the code," Rohn said simply. "And where did you get it?" "I wrote it." Silence fell. Sovkwal narrowed his eyes. "Impossible. Omega codes are sealed by AI matrices older than this station." Rohn tapped the side of his head. "I designed those matrices, back when you were still trying to figure out how to translate binary." Gasps. Laughter. A few muttered curses. But Sierra didn't laugh. Her fingers moved quickly over her interface pad, pulling records, access logs, old files buried deep in time-locked servers. She found it. A name: Dr. Elias Rohn. Architect of the Omega Protocols. Strategic commander during the Trillion conflict, author of the Protocol of Peace, and officially declared dead 74 years ago. You're Elias Rohn," she whispered. "In the flesh," he said. "What's left of it?" He turned to the tribunal. "And unless you've deleted history entirely, you know that without me, you'd all be slag orbiting the Trillion wastes." The air shifted, not in respect, in fear. Because Elias Rohn wasn't a war hero. He was the war. A mind so sharp, the Federation once ran simulations just to test how many moves ahead he could think. He'd beaten invasions before they began. Turned fleets against each other with whispers. Some called him a strategist, others a monster, but no one thought he was still alive. Sovkwal composed himself. "That still does not explain why you accessed the archive." "I needed coordinates," Rohn replied. "For what?" He paused, then looked directly at Sierra. "For someone." That night in the dark of his cell, Sierra came to him. "You're looking for her, aren't you?" Rohn didn't answer immediately. He stared at the stars through the thin glass port. "Her name was Kayla, she was Trillion. We met during the ceasefire negotiations. She wanted peace, I was better at war, we fell in love anyway." Sierra sat down slowly. "She died," Rohn said. "Or so I thought. But recently I intercepted a pulse. A code only she and I knew. A cry for help hidden inside a ghost transmission from the edge of a collapsed system. I needed those archives to track the signal. And if she's alive, I go to her. You're too old." "I'm old enough to try," Sierra sighed. "They'll never let you leave." Rohn turned to her with steel in his voice. "Then you'll have to help me escape." It was madness, but she did. They slipped past security at shift change. Sierra hacked the lower transit node. Rohn took out 2 guards with nerve gas he'd hidden inside his belt buckle. The old man moved slowly, but efficiently. Every motion deliberate, like a chess master with real lives on the board. They reached the hangar. Sierra's ship small, fast, unregistered. Rohn climbed in, breath heavy. Still not too late to turn around. "I know," Sierra said, starting the engine. They fled into the stars. The signal led them to the rift belt, a dead zone where gravity fields twisted light and sensors lied. No one returned from the belt, but Rohn knew the pattern in the signal. Kayla had once shown him how to slip through rifts like keys in locks. They made it, a hidden moon, a crashed Trillion carrier, overgrown, silent. Inside, Kayla, alive in cryostasis, wounded but preserved. A broken transmitter blinking weakly nearby. Sierra watched as Rohn collapsed at the base of the pod, hand pressed to the glass, his voice cracked. You waited, they revived her. She was older, frailer, but beautiful in that unshakable way. The way of people who refuse to die. They embraced like people drowning in memory. And Kayla smiled through tears. You came, I told you I would. What took you so long? War, he said, and living without you. Sierra turned away, not wanting to intrude, but Kayla reached out, taking her hand. You helped him, he helped himself. No, Kayla said, he never could, that was always his flaw. He carried everyone's sins, never his own. They spent a week on that moon, restoring systems, repairing the ship, talking, laughing. And then the fleet came, the Erythic had tracked them. Sovquel led the charge. You are fugitives, surrender or be destroyed. Roan stepped forward alone. This is a holy site, he said. Protected under Trillion Federation Treaty Code 19. That treaty is obsolete. Then so is your authority, Sovquel laughed. You think we fear an old man? No, Roan said. But you should fear her. Kayla stepped out of the shadows. She wore the crest of the Trillion High Matron, a title no one had dared invoke in decades. The fleet hesitated. Kayla raised a hand. The ground shook. Beneath their feet, the old Trillion carrier activated, awakening its guardian systems, defensive drones, planetary cannons, orbital mines. Stand down, Kayla said, voice calm. They obeyed. Because legends, when proven true, become law again. After the standoff, negotiations began. Roan and Kayla returned to Janix 3, not as fugitives, but as founders of a new accord. Sierra took command of the Archive Corps, redesigning it to preserve truth, not hide it. And the galaxy, tired of war, listened. Years later, Roan sat beneath the garden dome Kayla had restored. He held her hand as her breathing slowed. Don't leave me again, he whispered. I'm not, she smiled. I'm just going ahead. He stayed until the stars blinked their final farewell. When he passed, they buried him beside her and carved 3 words into stone. He kept his promise. And across galaxies, when whispers of war began again, someone always mentioned the old man who once walked into a tribunal, unarmed, and brought peace by simply remembering how to love.